Hey guys, and welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, and welcome back to the Jurassic Legacy portion of our show. And with the release of Chaos Theory Season 2, we are introduced to two new dinosaurs, two that I love so much, Suchomimus and Majungasaurus. But even more interestingly, they face off and fight. And at a loss for words and without just blurting out the outcome here, let me just play the fight for y'all. Majungasaurus came out on top. And a lot of people were very confused on this. And I'm taking the time to break this down, explain why Majungasaurus could have won. And I'm going to do this in two separate sections. One being within the Jurassic franchise, or as Chaos Theory has depicted it, explain how the Majungasaurus could have came out on top, why Suchomimus may be lost, and on top of that, a more paleo accurate depiction of this. And in the Jurassic franchise part, I will try to make sense of why Majungasaurus won too at the end of that. But first, let's go ahead and dive on in with the breakdown of the Majungasaurus. So, Majungasaurus, aka Major, this specific Majungasaurus, Majungasaurus in general is coming in at about 6 feet. Since Major is well, for lack of better words, a major dinosaur, it could have been ever so slightly larger. 8 to 9 feet could be possible. I really don't know. I couldn't find any actual this is the answer evidence or source. So I guess I'd stick with 6 feet, but just know it is possible Major might be taller than 6 feet. And it definitely seems that way in the show that it's over 6 feet, towering over people significantly. Length is about 23 feet. Length doesn't tend to matter. And weight is about 20,400 pounds or 1.2 tons. So it is ever so slightly heavier than its real life counterpart. As for its bite force, I couldn't find in Jurassic canon. So I had to go to Prehistoric Planet Wiki. And Majungasaurus with a skull width of 60 centimeters, 12 inches. In the front of the jaws would release about 3,140 newtons of force. And in the back jaws, 7,845 newtons. It takes 4,000 newtons to break human bone. So in the front jaws, it's not necessarily breaking human bone at all. It will definitely tear at you and rip you to shreds, but it's not breaking your bone. And in the back of its jaw, it could break your bone almost 2 times over. But I would say in sauropod bone, it probably doubles. I'd say 8,000 because of just how dense they are. So as sauropod hunters, they not tend to bite and chomp and rip bone off. They would skin graze. And that is definitely something that is not really played on in this. But let's go ahead and also talk about the Suchomimus that appears in the show. So the Suchomimus in the Jurassic canon is about 11 to 16 feet tall, and its length is about 36 feet, and its weight is 3 to 5.2 tons. As for its bite force, a study researched on Spinosaurids, and that was the focus of it. Suchomimus is likely comparable to an alligator. Well, actually, you know what? Bite force of alligator. $13,172 newtons. for the record, that is over 3 times as much the bite force to break human bone. A significant amount to break human bone. So this thing would be ripping at flesh significantly. Just pure snap power would just shear your arm off. This is another reason why people are, and this is coming from the Jurassic World Evolution Wiki. I just wow. Okay. But here's the thing, they do seem to face to face and seem to be about the same level. So let's say this is a smaller Suchomimus, 11 feet minimum is what we said. And it is major, so it's scaled up to be about 9 feet, maybe 10, stretching it to the extreme, and they're seeing eye to eye. The feet for bite force, they should, for height, I'd say they about even out. For weight, Suchomimus should have that in length, and for bite force, they really should both have it. Just pure shearing strength of Suchomimus and the back jaws of Majungasaurus are both bone breaking in power. So they would both definitely have that, but giving the edge to Majungasaurus, I shouldn't. I should be giving the edge to Suchomimus, but I just since it's major, maybe its bite force is slightly stronger because it's bigger. I don't know. But, and like I said, bite force could also belong to Suchomimus. But some in-canon universe, whatever you want to say, simple answers. It's a juvenile Suchomimus. Maybe it's a smaller Suchomimus and it's not fully developed. Its jaws aren't fully there. Its bite force is weaker. And maybe it's not as experienced in fighting off predators. Because I also noticed it didn't really use its hands in that fight as it should have. The simple answer is just for plot. They had to leave in the water. If the Suchomimus won, it would just chase them down in the water, and that would kind of, defeat the purpose of them getting away in the water. And another answer is it could just be Jurassic being Jurassic. The Majungasaurus they used it to market this a lot more, so maybe it's just Jurassic being Jurassic and making Majungasaurus more scary. And it could be in the DNA of the Majungasaurus to actually have a stronger bite force, or that it's more violent or more aggressive or whatever, and the Suchomimus is more docile or whatever. And one thing I did not put on this is maybe the Suchomimus killed the hippo and ate it, so it's sluggish, it's slowed down, it's got all that hippo meat in it, and it's not able to react as fast. But now I'm going to give a more paleo accurate version. But before I do, a quick word from our sponsor. Huge shout out to today's sponsor, Dinosaur Trips. If you enjoy these majestic creatures I talk about here on the podcast and would like to go see them for yourself, I would heavily recommend Dinosaur Trips. Dinosaur Trips is a company created to give people a behind-the-scenes in-look on museums and dig sites, along with just having an amazing time looking at these amazing, fabulous, majestic creatures. So if you sound interested, go to www.dinosaurtrips.com and tell them Prehistoric Life sent you and get $250 off your tickets. Now, back to the show. So, the paleo-accurate breakdown of Majungasaurus versus Suchomimus. We are going to start off with Majungasaurus, coming in at about 2 meters at the hip, 6 foot 7 inches, give or take, and about 18 to 23 feet long. This is the average of what I could find. As for weight, what I found is 2,400 pounds, 1.1 tons. So like I said, slightly lighter. And I'm using the same bite force as earlier, 3,140 newtons in the front, 7,845 newtons in the back. Now, moving on to Suchomimus, coming in at about 12 feet in height at the hip, 31 to 36 feet in length. As for weight, what I found is 2.5 in 6 tons, 6 tons. So this thing is drastically outmaneuvering, outsizing, just not outmaneuvering, but outsizing Majungasaurus. As for bite force, I'm a little confused. I couldn't find an actual source, but this says 4,037, and this is likely comparable to the bite force of an alligator, but as discovered, the bite force of an alligator is 13,172. So these do conflict. It's an American alligator, which honestly 13,172 makes more sense than 4,000, and that's not me just giving the edge to Suchomimus. On top of that, it also has very usable arms with very deadly large claws on the end that it would most likely use in this fight. So to give the edge in bite force, I'm going to start off with bite force. I would give it to both of them, but if I had to give the edge, it would be Suchomimus, simply because of how drastic it is. It's a lot more drastic. That first chomp at the beginning. That first chomp right there would be more than enough to end the Majungasaurus' day. Snap, crack, pop, down. As for height, weight, and length, the rest all goes to Suchomimus. As for mystery, X factor, whatever you want to call it, its arms, it gives it a greater reach. Its snout gives it a greater reach. It's larger. It can stay back farther. Majungasaurus has to get closer. Not only is it larger and stronger, I think the only thing Majungasaurus might have on it is speed, and that doesn't really do much. It might be able to get in faster and nip at it, but Suchomimus will be able to swat at it with its claws and jerk its head back and get up higher, so Majungasaurus won't be able to bite it easier. That first snap, even in the show, they had the Suchomimus go in first and bite the Majungasaurus first. That would be it and game over. And I'm not saying that Majungasaurus will always lose. I would just say 8 times out of 10, Suchomimus is crushing Majungasaurus in a fight. That is just what I would say. So for the winner, I would give it to the Suchomimus. Now, if you want to see more content from me, go check out my Instagram, Prehistoric Life Podcast. I post reels, upcoming videos, and specific things like that. If you want to see my content 2-ish days in advance, go check out my YouTube, Prehistoric Life Podcast. And if you want to see all my content in one place, go check out my website, prehistoriclifepodcast.com. From there, you can get to my YouTube and my Instagram. And that is all from me. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off. This has been Prehistoric Life Podcast. I will see you all next time for more dinosaur content. Signing off, and remember, keep it prehistoric. Bye.